The question that I see all the time is, what do you do for work and how can I get a remote job like that? Today I want to film something a little bit different. I want to talk to you about how you can become a digital nomad. We have been location independent for just over 2 years, so I do actually know what I'm talking about. No, we didn't have any especially special skills. We didn't have jobs that lent themselves to becoming remote, and we didn't have any connections. I did this for myself 100%. Nobody helped me. And you can do it too. You can. So, I am in quite a few online groups about digital nomads and traveling families, that kind of thing. The question that I see all the time is, what do you do for work and how can I get a remote job like that? So in this video, I wanted to help you come up with a plan for how you can become a digital nomad and not get hung up on like, what does everybody else do? What kind of jobs do they have? What companies do they work for? Because the truth is that the majority of digital nomads have their own business in some capacity. So they found a niche for themselves based on their own special set of skills and experience, and they've carved out a job for themselves that they can do from anywhere in the world. There are people who have fully remote jobs, of course, but those aren't that easy to find, and you are at the mercy of a hiring process in that sense. And I want to help you come up with a way that you can do this totally on your own and you can make it happen. So most digital nomads are like freelancers, consultants, or content creators. That's kind of, I would say, the big three. There are some people, they do, drop shipping, sales of some kind. I do want to say that even though it will take longer and be more work and effort on your end, it is much nicer, I think, to have a job that's totally your own and your own business than it is to work remotely for a company that allows you to work from anywhere, because a lot of those jobs require that you have some kind of schedule, and it's really difficult sometimes in other countries to maintain like a US Eastern Standard Time schedule. It's not impossible, lots of people do it, but it's not as pleasant as obviously just being able to adapt to the local time. And then another thing is, I've seen a lot of people, they'll get remote jobs for an American company and then they find out afterwards it's fully remote, but they have to stay in the US. And that's not really the same thing, is it? So, all that to say, it is a lot more work up front and you have to be really dedicated, but in the end, it's better. So along that same line, maybe the first thing that you can explore is if there's a way that you can do the job that you do now fully remote. So a lot of people are able to leave their current company and become a contractor doing that exact same job. So their employer no longer has to pay them benefits and stuff like that, but you have the freedom to go anywhere you want because technically it's your own business. So if you have a job that you're able to do that, then perfect, video's done. Before we begin on the brainstorming journey, there are just a couple of things that I want you to keep in mind. You are going to need to be adaptable. Your first kick at the can might not be successful, and maybe not even your second or your third. But if you're not scared to fail, to scrap it, to start over, you will get somewhere eventually. You will. I mean, like, don't sue me, but it's almost guaranteed that you'll see success eventually. And I truly believe that, like with my whole chest, I believe that. You just keep putting your effort in, even if you don't see results immediately. If you don't stop trying, I don't think that you can fail. I think there might be things that you have to change along the way, and yeah, you might have to start over, but I don't think that you can fail if you don't give up. And that doesn't mean like you're going to be the most successful person. There are lots of people who, they have YouTube channels and people just really like them for whatever reason. They're really likable people. And those people will have like millions and millions of subscribers. But you can still earn a living with 100,000 subscribers. You don't need to rely on viral fame or good luck in order to be successful in some kind of remote work. So you are going to need to be willing to take advice, to learn new things, and to not be married to a specific idea. Like if you see that it's a slog, it's not going to be as successful as you thought it was, you might need to change your mind about some things along the way. The second thing that's important for you to know and truly believe is that this is possible. When I first started thinking about how can I travel the world full time, I just thought if there was a way for me to think of a way to make money online and then just go travel the world full time, then everybody would do it, right? It's not true. It's 100% not true. There are a lot of people that really like their homes and their cars and their jobs. They actually don't want this at all. This is not everybody's dream. They don't want to do this. Allow those people to bring you comfort. There are actually not a lot of people that truly want to live like this. So if you want to, you can. Okay, so the other thing is sort of like manifesting in a way. Like from now on, if you think it's possible and you're gonna come up with a plan, and now you have to make decisions going forward, like this is going to happen. So you're just gonna make different decisions than you would if it was just a dream. You're not gonna sign up for a new 3-year cell phone plan because, well, by then I'm gonna be traveling. Don't wanna have to pay to get out of this cell phone contract. You're not gonna buy a new car with 5 years of payments because 2 years from now, you're gonna be living in Europe. You don't wanna be selling your car and having to figure out what payments you have left and stuff. Nobody wants to be doing that. I'm not gonna buy any more jeans because those are gonna be too bulky when I'm packing, you know? Manifesting. And then the final thing to keep in mind, unfortunately, this is going to take some time. I am not especially capable of like long-term planning. If something is too far away, then it's really difficult for me to see it as being attainable. If it's, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years from now, it's like, ugh, If you need to tell yourself that it's only going to take a year, then do that. And in a year, you'll just see how far you've come. We started planning for this in September, and we had wanted to be leaving the following, like 1 year later, January. So just over 12 months. We're like, okay, January, a year from now, we're gonna be traveling. And it didn't happen. It didn't happen at all. So we pushed it back. We're like, okay, April. April we're gonna be traveling. And then we kept working like maybe in April we'll be making money and we can travel. And it took all the way until the next October until we could actually leave. But we did still get there eventually. And once you get to the January, I'm just not quite there yet. I'm gonna plan now for April. That's only 3 months or whatever. February, March, yeah, that's only like 3 months away. It's easier for you to reassess then a few months later and see how far you got on your plan, and you will have made some progress and it will seem closer than if you at the beginning were like, oh, okay, this is my 3-year plan. I feel like it's a little bit harder to stick to. I know there are people out there that are really good at planning, and maybe you're one of those people and then this is terrible advice for you and you're like, why are you lying to yourself? But you don't have to, if you're not a good planner, you don't have to look at it as lying to yourself. You could just be like, okay, this is my super ambitious plan, but if I don't get there, that's okay. We're gonna reassess when the time comes, but I'm gonna put everything into it like that goal is achievable. And who knows, maybe it is. Maybe for you, it's gonna be super easy. So I did have to extend my fictitious deadline to April and then to the fall. And then it actually did end up happening just over 2 years from when we started planning. This 2-year timeline does seem to be pretty average for most startups, whether it's becoming a digital nomad or not. Most businesses do take about 2 years to start earning a profit. So unfortunately, this is why a lot of people quit and they can't actually make it to their goal. It's gonna take approximately 2 years of full-time work with no money in order to make this happen. I was lucky/unlucky because I lost my job in 2020, in all that was happening in 2020. I was unlucky, obviously, that I lost my job, but I was getting some unemployment checks and I was able to spend all of my time, full-time, working on my goal. And then even after I wasn't getting paid anymore, my husband did still have a job. So obviously I'm at a bit of an advantage because I was able to devote full-time hours to it the entire time. If you're having to work, obviously it's going to take you a little bit longer. If it's just all of your free evenings and weekends. The good thing about coming up with the ideas, which we're going to do in just a minute, the good thing about coming up with these ideas is that you're going to be working on something that you enjoy. So you're going to be able to put a lot of time into it with no money and still enjoy what you're doing, or at the very least, be interested in it. So if you're doing something you're enjoying and you're really excited about your end goal, that's going to help you to stay motivated through the slump. And you're definitely going to have a slump where you're like, this is not going anywhere and I'm putting so much effort into this and I just want to stop. All you have to keep in mind is that you will get somewhere. You will. Allegedly, don't sue me. Okay, now time for brainstorming. And this is exactly what I did. Maybe it will help you, maybe it won't. We might not think the same way, maybe we do. But this is what I did to come up with a remote work idea. If you're not really a very creative person and you're not open to limitless possibilities, then maybe you would want some help on this project. You can kind of like write everything down and work it out a little bit, and then talk to somebody and say, hey, like I have all this stuff written down. Can you help me come up with some ideas? Maybe that would be more effective for you. The first thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna write down everything that you have legitimate work experience in. So any job that you've had, the responsibilities, the tasks that you did at those jobs, write them all down. This could be like managing inventory, customer service, sales, really anything that you've done. And you don't need to worry at this stage about how relevant it is or how you're gonna work this out or whatever. Just any legitimate work experience. This is like writing a resume basically. Any bullet point that you put on your resume, you're gonna write down on your little piece of paper. Make sure that you're really like thinking about this and you're writing down any weird little thing that you've done. And this can be like uber specific to certain jobs that you've had. Like for some reason, I have a lot of experience with like an aviation software. You know, you can write that down. Maybe you know a lot about safety policies and fire extinguishers. You know, there's nothing that's too obscure. I promise you, there are a lot of people who do really weird things for work. Along the same line as this, when you're finished with that, you're gonna write down anything that you are particularly good at. Not necessarily things that you love at this point, it's just things that you're good at. So don't put down things that you hate, because you're not gonna wanna do it then. But for some reason, I have a lot of experience with inventory, so I'm gonna write down that I'm good at inventory management. I'm good at writing, I'm good at Excel spreadsheets. So all of those things would go on the list. This can also be anything that you're just like naturally gifted at as a child. So if you've always been really good at math or, you know, logic problems, those kind of things all go on the list. Same with any subject you were particularly good at in high school, college, university, anything that you've ever thought to yourself, like, wow, I'm good at this. Put it down. It is helpful to kind of limit the list to things that you either enjoy or you're neutral on. Like, for example, the inventory thing. I don't love inventory, but I don't mind doing it either. I have a lot of experience with it and I'm good at it. It's really not worth writing down things that you don't enjoy at all, because you're gonna have to work on them for a long, long time without any money. So you don't wanna be like, well, maybe I kinda hated it, but no. You don't want to do that. Oh, I have to plug this in. When you're done with both of those lists, now you're going to add to the list anything that you just know a lot about for no reason at all. So this can be hobbies, hyperfixations, etc. For example, I know a lot about asbestos for no reason whatsoever. Does that end up being relevant or helpful? No. It helped me out at a party one time, but it's still worth writing down. Pokemon, frisbee golf, deep vein thrombosis, anything that you are particularly educated about. Okay, so that is the end of the writing down exercise, and now you're gonna start kind of brainstorming. So if you're not a super creative person, this is when maybe you wanna ask someone for help. You're gonna try to keep in mind a general idea of contractor, consultant, content creator. You may also want to consider a product of some kind. You can just keep that in the back of your head. Like maybe there's a way that your particular skills and experience can help create and sell a product. It could be a digital product or like a drop shipping kind of thing. There are some people who do that, so just keep it in mind. So you're gonna start playing around the list, sort of like a game of Clue. It was me painting the Pokemon onto the Frisbee golf discs. More likely, I'm gonna help small businesses bid on government contracts. Okay. I'm a nutritionist and I'm gonna make videos about packed lunches for kids with sensory needs. I love crochet and I'm gonna teach people how to make their own yarn with recycled fibers. There is something random in here that you can do and you're gonna be the best person for the job because nobody else has your very unique set of skills and qualifications and interests. And if you are a little bit younger, this might be a little bit more difficult because you don't have as much work and life experience, but I'm sure you can still think of something. And again, keep in mind that your very first idea might not work. Maybe you'll have a new idea. Maybe you'll have to tweak it a little bit. Maybe you'll go back to the list and start over. But there's something in here that you're gonna be able to do location independent and it's gonna make you money. No matter what you pick and settle on as your first attempt, you're gonna have to start straight in on it, not making any money. If you picked a content creator of some kind, you're just gonna have to get started right away with making videos, writing blog posts, whatever it is that you've decided to do. If you picked some kind of freelancing career, like consultant or contractor, then you need to try to find a few clients that you can onboard, probably for free. An easy way to do this is to offer to make websites for your friends or your family for no money. That's kind of a bad example because like web developer, like website developer, designer, that's probably not something you came up with right now. But anyway, you're gonna do work for free. So if you can find a few free clients, then you can get some work for not only like experience and build your confidence, but you can also get some testimonials from them so that you can at some point build your brand and get some referrals. This doesn't necessarily apply if you have a lot of experience in an area that just lends itself very nicely to an online job. As if you can do a similar job to what you've done before and just do it online for different clients, there's no reason necessarily for you to work for free. But I feel like those people, they skipped the whole process. Okay, they were at the very beginning of the video, they were like, I can take my job online. So never mind. Whatever you have picked, try to make it your new hyperfixation. Try to learn as much as you can about it on YouTube, listen to podcasts, read some books, visit some websites, learn as much as you can about it. I think this is something that is an overlooked skill. If you're not open to learning other people's ways of doing things or other people's ideas or learning from other people's experience, you might not get anywhere in this whole process, because it is, like I said in the beginning, really important to be adaptable and teachable. You know, you sacrifice your pride for the end goal and try to remain open to ideas that maybe weren't on the list or you hadn't originally thought of, but there's no reason that they can't work. Ultimately, the vision that you have is not necessarily about the job that you're doing, it's about the lifestyle. Like for me, I genuinely did not care what job I was doing as long as it wasn't horrible and soulless, right? But even then, I probably would have done it. It's more about the end goal of being location independent and being able to travel. The job is just part of it. And unfortunately, that's really all the advice that I can give you. Hopefully by now, or after you've done the exercise, you have a short list of a few different ideas, and you're just gonna get started on those. You're gonna start making contact, making connections, trying out your ideas, and the whole time you're going to be open to other possibilities and you're going to be thinking ahead to your goal. I really hope this video helped you believe in the dream of becoming a digital nomad, because it absolutely is achievable. I've done it myself And maybe you're leaving this video with an idea already in mind. Thank you so much for watching. We do normally travel full time. We are still location independent, but we're just in Canada. So, can you see? You can see my fruits and vegetables. Anyways, we are gonna start trying to upload a new video every single week again. We had a little bit of a blip, okay, a little bit of a magical emergency, but we're gonna be back to uploading, I hope now. So, see you on the road.